Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Are you wondering what's the easiest way to get started with your emergency prepping? How to be a prepper and what should you start with? If you don't have anything, you want to start with the absolute basics that keep you going from day to day. You want to begin with having some food and water. Just fill your pantry with foods that you don't need to do any cooking at all. If you had an emergency when you had no power or maybe the water stopped running, that's more likely to happen to each of us than, say, the end of the world as we know it. I'm prepping for the emergencies that are most likely to happen where I live and not for the actual doomsday worst thing, SHTF, for the entire world. So that's how I can feel better about knowing that I'm preparing for every day and not for just the day. You want to prepare for every day to be the best, to smooth the way. So the easiest way to start prepping is to get some open and eat food. What I have here is 1 week's worth of food that I could easily open and eat. I wouldn't have to do anything. I don't mind eating these foods, so they're what belong in my 1 week supply. If you like different foods, then that's the foods that you should buy. You want to try to think of breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. You also want to think about having at least 2,000 calories per day. You also want to think about having a variety of protein, fats. Try to keep a balanced diet so that your nutrition isn't slipping. And then remember, these need to be foods that you're willing to eat because they need to be rotated. Now when you go to the grocery store and you look at the food, you can look on the bottom or on the package somewhere and find the best by use by sell by date. That isn't necessarily an expiration date, but it can be for certain foods. You want to try to find foods with the farthest out there dates and then try to get as many of those as possible that you can put together. Some things are not possible to store as long as others. Fresher things, cookies, crackers, dried and packaged things, that canned foods can usually last longer. But you want to try to have longer life on these items so that if you have to just put them away in your pantry, then you can eat them next year if you need to. These aren't foods you're never going to eat. They're foods you can put away, and then if they're all dated, say, 2025, then you can get them out and rotate them in 2025 or rotate them as you use them. You can have these in your pantry, and if you use one of the items, then you replace it and have that be not necessarily your working pantry, but have it be your emergency stash pantry. But you still need to rotate these foods, so choose foods that you enjoy eating. Let's look over the things that I chose. First, I decided about breakfast. The simplest thing that you don't have to do any cooking is something like granola bars. I bought 2 boxes because they have 8 bars each, and then I just stack them all up in there so that I don't have to have 2 boxes on my shelf. You can stuff 2 boxes worth in this box, and so I have the 16 rather than just the 8, and that's going to last. I can have 2 per day, and then I'll even have a little bit extra. And I like eating them. They're easy to grab and go, and so they're a great kind of food to have in your emergency food stockpile. If milk is something that your family drinks, look for the shelf-stable milk. You don't even have to store it in the refrigerator until you open it. It's real dairy milk. It's ready to go. You can also buy the packages of UHT milk, which is ultra-high temperature, which is how they preserve it so that it can last in the pantry. You can find it in not only 1%, 2% whole milk. You can find almond milk. You can even find oat milk. So if some of those are concerns of types of milks that you want to have, you can look for those. You can even pick them up at the Dollar Tree for $1.25 or go to the regular grocery store, and I think sometimes they're at least $3 there. So if you can find it at a reasonable price, that's a good time to stock up. With your breakfast, maybe you want some fruit. You can get simple cans of fruit. You can find dried fruits. You can also find the little packages of little cups of fruit. So find the fruits that you like. One thing that I don't like to store anymore is pineapple because I have had problems with pineapple not lasting and the cans exploded in the pantry. So that's my warning to you. Pineapple is great, but don't just put it away. If you're going to buy it, you need to keep close attention to the date on it and rotate it. And trust me, you do not want to clean up leaking cans of pineapple. Next, I bought a variety of canned foods. I started with some basic soups. There's all different varieties of soups you can get: beef and barley, chicken and stars, double noodle, tomato. There are all kinds of flavors of just simple soups. They're not very expensive. You do need to have an extra can of water to add to these. They're a simple way to have a quick little meal. And if you have just crackers or something along with it, that can make it more filling. Next, I like to stock up on the chunky soups. You can find them even organic. You can find them with beef, with chicken, with vegetables, with potatoes. There's all different kinds of canned chunky soups. So look for the ones that you like. If you see a food you think you might like, just buy one and take it home and try it. I bought some sausage chicken gumbo or something soup that was a chunky soup, and I didn't really care for it at all. So nobody wants to go in the pantry and you have 12 cans of a food that nobody enjoys eating. Wouldn't you rather find ones that you do enjoy eating? Those are the cans you should stockpile. Next, think about canned foods that are entrees, that are ready-to-eat meals. You can find ravioli, beefaroni, spaghetti and meatballs. There's all kinds of Chef Boyardee ones. I think they even have some generic ones. I like the ravioli, so that's the ones that I like to have. I also like to have cans of chili. And chili, you can find all different brands. You can even get 7 different cans of chili that are all different. They don't have to all be the same. And then you can have just the variety that way. A dilemma that I encountered with my food storage is that my sweetheart loved beefaroni, and I had a nice big stockpile of that for him, but then sadly he passed away in December, and I don't really like beefaroni, but I don't want to waste the food that I had, so I found that if I poured the beefaroni into a strainer and drained some of the sauce off, and then stirred it in with a can of chili and made chili mac beefaroni, that was pretty good. So you can try to find ways to disguise foods or enhance them, stretch them out, and maybe you'll find something that you enjoy that'll help you have another meal, use the foods you have, which allows you to save dollars because you're using every bit of the food that you buy. There are all different kinds of entrees, of ready-to-eat meals in a can. You might find red beans and rice or beef stew. Look them all over. See what you like. Pick up 7 cans. Then you have 7 for lunch, 7 for dinner. Put 2 together. What I like to plan is 1 can per person per meal. That's just an easy way to do it. You don't want to buy the jumbo cans if you're only 1 or 2 persons because you may not have a way to refrigerate the leftovers, and necessarily we don't want to have to keep eating the same thing day after day. Have variety, but figure out how many people are in your family and how many cans of food you actually are going to need for that week. Then let's think about snacks and protein. You can pick up things like trail mixes, nut mixes. You can get a jar of peanut butter or almond butter, whichever kind of butters that you enjoy. You can have a box of crackers to eat with your peanut butter, or do like my family, load up a spoon and eat away. Other kind of snacks to think about are fruit snacks, pepperoni sticks, beef jerky. Look over the types of snacks that your family likes and have a few extras of those on hand. And you don't have to buy all of this in one day. You can pick up 1 thing this week, 1 thing next week, 2 cans the next week, and build it a little at a time, and so that you have that extra food. If you can get it all at once, that's great because then you are prepared. But if you don't have the money to do that, it doesn't mean you can't be a prepper. And if money is tight, it's even more important that you put a little extra aside because things are becoming more difficult. And the more prepared you are to face an uncertain future, the better you can smooth the way so that you have the things that you need. Think if you could go to your pantry and find a few cans of food when there's a few more days till payday. Isn't that better than going and finding that the pantry is bare and there's nothing to eat? So try to think of things that you can just tear open and eat that just don't even require any cooking. If you couldn't cook, you could eat ravioli right out of the can. It's not going to be the ideal meal, but if there's an emergency, hey, would you rather have that or nothing? I'll take the beefaroni, thank you. Make sure you have a can opener. You need a reliable can opener if you're going to prep the easy way. Think about the little powdered drink mixes that you like that you can just stir into a water bottle or put it in a cup, heat up some water and add it. Think of the drinks that you like. I also found at Dollar Tree these Hydramates, and I've seen these in the regular drugstore, and they're very expensive, but they're very good if you're in especially a stressful situation or it's very hot. You need to make sure that you don't become dehydrated and that you have things like the electrolytes you need. Then, of course, you want to make sure that you have an emergency supply of water. You need a minimum of 1 gallon per person per day for as many days as possible. Try to have several weeks worth of water because we rely on water for so many things. Buy some water for drinking, but then you can fill up old soap containers and things and put them under the sink, and then you have water for washing your hands, flushing the toilet, doing the dishes if you need it. But make sure that you set aside some water that's just for drinking, and any container that you fill and you set aside, make sure that you label it that it's water so somebody won't think they have a nice big jug of laundry detergent and it's water. That could be another emergency that you don't want to have. Something that I do, especially when I go out to my Alaska Granny Camp, which is my off-grid cabin, and there's no running water, no electricity, and I have to haul all the water. So I buy water storage containers. I also save detergents with the spigots. You can fill them up, set them on the counter, and then you have water that you can wash your hands, wash a dish. It's got a little turn off. I have a little sink. The water flows down into a bucket, and then I can dispose of it outside. So that's a tip for you, whether you're going camping or the water might shut off, stop running. Save your detergent dispenser, fill it up, and then you'll have your water to go for cleaning up. So there you go. That's the easiest way to start prepping. That's the easiest way to get going, to have food storage, and to make each day start out the best it can be. Then you can build on your supplies from that, add some first aid, some hygiene supplies, add in tools, and all of the things that you need for personal protection, shelter, and those kind of things. And please make sure that you have a bug out bag should an emergency arise that you do need to leave your home. Those things happen, and you need to be prepared wherever you are for who knows what's coming. But the better prepared we are, and the more we think about what could happen, and we have an idea of a plan that we could implement if something happens, the better off we're going to be. And that's the point of being a prepper, to make each day go as smoothly as possible. Leave it in the comments if there are food items that you think we should add to our stockpile so that we're prepared to face the future. I hope you'll like my video, share it with someone else you think might enjoy it, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.